Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 106th episode of the HSBG Podcast. I'm your host, Educated Collins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady, how you doing?
Doing great, Collins. Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good, honestly. Not pretty good. It's not. If I were to rate it, it's like near the upper end, which is good. Now, how good is the upper end? Maybe it's like pretty low for some other person's baseline. So it might not mean much, but everything's all relative anyway. So still pretty good.
I don't believe it.
All right, but yeah, we got pretty I guess jam-packed podcast for you guys. There's a lot to talk about in terms of a lot of things have changed. There's a whole new system added to the game. Maybe people familiar with Battlegrounds will be privy to the quest meta and some of the changes, but for new people who haven't really played during that time, I think there's going to be a lot that you're going to learn from in terms of discussions, what seems good, what type of strategies you should be using, and generally, we've had good weeks, we've had bad weeks. There's too much to talk about, that kind of thing. But there are some other things besides the patch that I do want to mention. I'm not really going to deep dive discuss it, but there are first a couple of things. I would say the first thing is that it's tournament season, I guess, is the way I want to start it off, in that there's a couple of tournaments. Lobby Legends is happening, and there was a silver name tournament that happened just over last couple of days here, where 12 invited streamers were able to play it out, RDU being one of them, which was pretty notable since I would say they have some beef with each other, Silver Name and RDU. But at the end of the day, XQN won. Am I surprised? No. I'm not. But RDU did get second, Dummit third, Silver Name fourth. So there were a lot of really popular, really well played streamers that did do well, and it was definitely a fun tournament overall. If you do want to catch it, I'm sure you can find a VOD somewhere.
Yeah, you can most likely watch your perspective, right? If you want to see XQ's perspective, RDU, Dummit, right? All streaming. So
yeah. That's the great thing. Anytime there's a tournament and it's just random people, the technical difficulties are through the roof. No one has a mic, no one has good connections. It's geez, what are we doing here, right? But anytime you get streamers, quality is always top notch. Especially when it's still livelihood and stuff like that. But other thing as well is just Lobby Legends. It's going to be July 22nd, I guess. 8:30 a.m. PT, so you gotta translate that a little bit, but there's a lot of really good players here. We have the previous tournament winner, Giga Alex. He changed his name from Mega. He's now Giga. He's playing in the first lobby. Alatume, Mark 7K, Tume. Alatumu, sorry, Tume, and Waterloo. Dog's in there, which is pretty cool. Krycho and Satellite, those are in the first lobby. We had something to say?
Sorry. Citro. No,
Krycho. I put the R in there randomly. Thank you. Please. I butcher names so often that it's a meme, and that's not good. But that's the first lobby, and there's a lot of names that I think people will remember from previous tournaments, previous lobbies. So it's pretty stacked there. Second one is Zorg. Oh, that's Zorg. I thought that was a dollar sign. Seville, Yanase, Shirosa, WTY Bill, Lee, Jeff, and Aw Dragon. So they put all the Americans in one lobby. So that's going to be fun. In terms of they're gonna be cannibalizing each other. But yeah, definitely lots of familiar names, lots of familiar faces. Very, very, very strong set of lobbies. I would be very scared to play in these. So it should be fun if you like those. Those are always a good time. And sometimes I don't really feel like Blizzard does the best job of promoting, so may as well mention it here and maybe get some more eyes on that.
It's a shame we talked at length last time. Let's just enjoy, right? See what these players can do with quests. It's stacked. It's always stacked.
They always completely change the meta before a tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that is the preference.
But obviously the players that practice during this will have that huge advantage. You can see in the last one, right? Alex just dominated. It wasn't even close, right? So hopefully it's not the same, right? They have more experience in like shifting metas. And Quest is something people have played before as well. So there's people have prior experience and be able to adjust. But it's always interesting to see what people come up with and some new strategies that might arise during the tournament.
Yeah, the main question will be when the balance patch hits. Because I'm assuming there will be one pre-Lobby Legends.
Pre-Lobby Legends, right? To kind of remove some of the busted interactions. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, the initial, like, well, this thing is really strong. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, kind of just have to accept that that's part of what tournaments are, right? It's tournaments serve a purpose. It's great to watch, right? But it also is there to promote new cards, new strategies, and all.
Yeah,
so.
very true. All right, now to the meat of it, right? We do have the patches. We actually have two to talk about since, like they've been pumping out patches basically, right? Usually it's every other week, but we had two with the Quest edition and then some of the nerfs. I'm sure you've talked about it and heard about it, but we do want to skim over some of the changes. We're not going to dive deep. I think Quest is really the main meat of this podcast in terms of this is what people could really take away. But it is good to just kind of mention, oh, this changed, that changed, and that kind of thing. So we can kind of go straight into it, right? So they did nerf Mukla and Cario, which we did talk about, right? I did feel they were very strong, and looks like they did agree. I'm a little bit sad about the Mukla nerf in particular, where everyone can get a banana. I had this game earlier. I had this game earlier where I got like 3 big bananas in a row, and I was just like, I bet they hate me. I bet they are not happy with me with that. I started with a Neurotron or yeah. I started with a Neurotron, and I was just like, oh, okay. I started +2/+2 in a Neurotron into another +2/+2 into another. I was just like, I bet they hate me. But yeah, definitely interesting. Was there any in particular hero changes? We have Mukla, Cario, Arana, and I believe one more curator. Those type of changes. Anyone jump out to you in particular? Anyone you want to talk about?
Yeah, the Mukla one, I don't think that all players should have a chance for Big Banana.
Yeah, I don't like it either. I think it's too much.
It just creates another layer of variance that doesn't need to be in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you want to do that to Mukla. So just lower his chances of getting Big Banana. And that's how you nerf it, instead of saying like, hey, these 2 players for no good reason are going to win the early game. Have fun.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, well, it doesn't seem fun. That just, then you start to be like, oh, there's a Mukla in the lobby. Great. I'm getting small bananas. Great. Right. So, yeah.
And then, when other people are getting big bananas, right, and you're the one getting small, and like you're not even fighting Mukla, right? and the game swings because of some random interaction you can't really control or mess with. It's just like, like why?
Yeah, does not feel great. Although I do agree that something had to be done, or it was
way too consistent. I agree with that. So
then the rest seems fine. I think
I like the Arana change. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was gonna say Arana is. I think that they changed both of these, right? And I think they vastly overestimated how good they made them. Right? It was Curator's Venom now has to be a 1/1, right? I mean, come on, we can't possibly leave that at a 2/2. It was like, no, it's still trash. So it just doesn't matter that much at the start. It's just like, I have a small Venom. Like sometimes you have the frustration of like, you have one big guy and it hits that thing, but for the most part, early game bow, it's minions don't really care too much. Something as Venom. And then Arana is just like we're gonna give this like 10 armor and 16. It's like, all right, what about 15 armor and 14? Right? It's like immediately like say, which is fine, right? It's a bit unlike them most of the time, right? And them being Blizzard here, where most of the time it's, hey, let's make it nice and busted, and then we'll scale it back. And here it was just like, these things are gonna be powerful. Let's give them 10 armor each, and like it's like, well, I mean, come on, guys, it's still a 1/1, right? It's like, let's not go crazy. Yeah. So yeah, whatever. Just noticing that. Yeah, that's it for the heroes. That's it.
All right, and then we do have some armor adjustments for the changes, right? So Mukla is 10, Kyria is 12, blah blah blah, and Arana and Kyria now have 15. So they've just like equalized the armor, made it a little bit.
Yeah, they
better,
both came from 10.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Where if a hero gets 10 armor, that's Blizzard saying this is gonna be good. Right? So they're just saying like, well, let's give it a bit more armor.
Yeah. And now we have the minion updates. I would say Cogwar Copter to 1/1. I think that's fine. It was kind of it was like very, very playable, even as a 2/1. So I'm kind of okay with this.
Yeah, I will say the more I played it, the more I was just like, don't take damage for holding a card here. So I was really starting to notice like you pay with your health. So when
especially as a 1/1, yeah.
Yeah, as a 1/1 for sure. But if you rolled it like stupid good, where it's like, okay, turn 3, 2 copters.
Yeah,
that's when it was really. That's when you could get like buff, and then you had that the first minion then pays for the other minions where you can hold and not take damage.
You know what was annoying? When the Murloc's in and you have the 2/5 that gives you 9 health on top of this, and I'm just like I was getting like what 311 on my minion that I'm holding. I'm just like, is that balanced? Like,
yeah.
Like I still don't know why that thing gives 9 health. It just seems so much that early in the game to me.
And the more I play, the more I'm just like, I don't really want this is a bit weird. No, if you hit it on turn 3, it's still good, right? It's just that if you hit it on turn 4, the 6 gold turn, it's like, okay, then I'm gonna level 7 gold, buy a minion, hold, take the damage, play it. I don't know. It's just, I guess it's a.
It's always that 5 gold turn. I mean, like, I'm not like, after that turn, I'm not like thinking about 2 drops. But like, I'm just like, those are always like, oh, 5 gold, I got this, and okay, oh my. Like,
yes.
And then it pops off. It just always feels.
5 gold, it's done.
Yeah.
5 gold, it's done for sure.
And then Scrapper got the biggest change in that instead of every turn, it's now every 2 turns. And I would say overall, I feel this nerf was effective. What do you think?
Yeah, mechs are much slower. Well, I mean, anything we talk about right now is not too relevant because of quests. So I'd say we're just gonna cover the changes and then maybe like a note here or there, but. This did.
I still feel like Scrapper is relevant. Like if it was old Scrapper, it'd still be relevant in quest meta.
Yes, but the point that I was gonna make is that I was gonna say, well, it's like a bit slower to get going and this and that, but in quest meta, it's like you do so much weird stuff that it's like I rarely go for like an actual scraper build. Whereas
I actually went Scraper yesterday.
Like, you can, right? You can.
Yeah.
It's just that
that's because of the quest. My quest was giving me 2 random mechs, so I was just like, okay.
Right. And with Mask, you can also do it, right? Mask is like Drakari, so Mask Scraper or utility. But yeah, whatever. It was effective. The nerf was effective.
Cyborg Drake, I mean, it was too good, so I understand this.
The 5-drop that makes Annoyatrons was disgusting with this, so I think it's a justified nerf.
Yeah,
down from 8 attack now to 6.
To 6, yep. Piggy Viper is now a 3/1. I mean, it doesn't really change that much in my opinion. Like maybe you take more damage early, but
yeah, you take more damage, and I think that's good. I think this card was pretty dumb at a 5/2, so I think it's a good nerf.
Yeah, I was. Someone had like a 200 attack cleaves, pirate cleaves, and that's just like, yeah, thanks Piper. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what else?
That's when they have the Titus, right? The Titus, the Pipers, and it's just like farm, and you just see those gems in your hand, like like to receive the attack buff, and pretty silly, yeah.
Bopper got a nerf from a 6.5 to a 4.3. Sure. Snap.
So basically, the stats that Bopper now has, right? It's the same as before, but without the gem proc.
Mm-hmm.
So before it would be a 6.5, right? And it turns into a 6.5, but after the gem proc. So it's one proc less that you're getting on Bopper, and I think that's fine. Bopper was stupid, and I still play Bopper right now. So.
Mm-hmm. Snapjaw gained an attack, so it's now a 5.2. I haven't really felt this personally. Don't like the card.
You buy the card when it's good, and you still don't buy it when it's not good. Right?
Okay.
So Mana Saber on the board, etc. You can buy it.
The question is, when is it ever good? Mana Saber on the board, okay, fine.
Mana Saber, Hummingbird, early start, like that can do stuff.
Okay, sure. Well, that's what we tell ourselves.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You keep buying Snapjaw.
Recycling Wrath went down from a tier 4 to a tier 3. I really was concerned about this one. What do you think in terms of after playing it? Like, has it been a concern? Or has it just been like, it's there?
Yeah, no, it hasn't. Really.
Yeah, that's what I feel too, right? It hasn't.
I don't really fight someone's board and be like, damn it, they shouldn't have moved Wraith to 3. Yeah. It's not happened yet. I think that you can probably, I guess it's because Millhouse, generally speaking, only spends 1 turn on 3, right? He just
power levels
3 on the 4. So you're really the real thing is that there's now 2 more copies in the pool.
Yeah, I would say that's the most important thing. Yeah.
One cool thing that you do think about now is if you go 3 on 3, you can hold Droplet and then open a Wraith, play Wraith Droplet, and get a free roll to get a better card. That's an actual thing that you can change now in your strategies if you go 3 on 3 and just
with a Elemental.
With a Sally, yeah.
Because that 2/2 probably isn't doing anything. I hear you.
Exactly. So there's now a legit reason to just hold it because you might open a Wraith on 3. But I mean that's very niche, But something to think about if you go 3 on 3.
All right, then we have the Bream counter. Got a buff. Went from a 4/4 to a 5/5, and now you're getting +3/+3 every. I'm sure you're happy about this, by the way. This is like, yes.
Don't understand. Well, I mean, I understand it.
Because no one was playing Murlocs, like except for you.
I don't agree with it at all because I think it's so freaking strong.
I know. I agree with that. Like every time, I'm just like, they got this, and I'm just like, oh my god, why is it so big? It just gets so big so fast out of nowhere. Yeah. I'm just like, and you can't really counter it because it comes out of the bog rails.
It's in the base skill, right? Yeah. It's safe. It's hiding. It's like, the Leroy's dead. I'm coming out. That's what it does, right? Yeah. All the venom's gone. Here I am, baby. So my theory with this, by the way, is that the stats on this card were bad because people held it in their hands without base skill and be like, I'll hit base skill. And they took extra damage and then they died. So my assumption is that people died because they didn't play it. Right. So folks, if you have a 24/24 Bream counter in your hand and you don't have a base skill, put the 24/24 on the board.
But I could hit it, Shady.
Shady. Your biggest minion is an 8/8 at that point.
But probably, I'm gonna hit it next turn, Shady. What do you mean?
Look, this is the beauty, Collins. This is the beauty. Then you buy another one, you triple it, and it's like Bream counter. It jumps back into Pokeball, right? And you can. You can do
that, yeah.
You can recover it. So put your I've made silly big base skills in 1 turn just because you go like Tad, Primal Fin, pop, right? And then you just play it, and then it stops. You stop taking damage, and then you buy a second base skill, and you summon that one. You buy a second Bream, you summon that with the base skill if you hit it, and then you'll hit the third one eventually from Tad or Primal Fin, and then you just put it in your hand, and then it can start being large for the 6/6 Murloc that gains the stats from the hand. So I think this one is just pure misplaying by the players, and because of that, the stats were incorrect. This card was probably performing far below what it should perform if people were to play it, because this thing just grows really fast.
Yeah.
So and now we're stuck with this thing, which is way too strong. But whatever, it's not breaking the game or anything. Quests are in, so there's much sillier stuff going on. But just a pet peeve of mine, where it's like this thing is just too good now. It was fine.
Fair enough.
All right, sure, okay, we can move on.
Eventide Brutes getting a buff, gaining +1/+1 in stats. It's not too relevant, but it's there. Like I thought the card wasn't bad, but the buff doesn't do anything. It doesn't like move the needle and be like, oh my god, the brute synergy is that. No, I don't feel it. So.
Yeah. Brute's still a card that you buy when it's good and you skip when it's not, right? It's like, do you have the Spellcrafts on your board? And sure, otherwise no.
Yeah. That's also getting a big buff. Now you buff 4 friendly Nagas. That's what it used to do before it was nerfed in the Naga meta. But right now, I would say that with Quest, there's other things to do that it's not as relevant for sure.
Yeah, well, I've not really... I've played one Atessa game, right. But that's more because I couldn't hit Deep Blue. Which is really the like that I will touch on. I think they've got that one wrong because you're making the tier 4 Naga thing
way better,
way stronger than the tier 6 Naga thing, right? We're not even talking just stronger, right? Like proper Deep Blue Lurker, like you make 800 health Lurkers, right? That's not a problem. You do that. Like I've done that many times, right? You can make massive Lurkers. And like your minions just don't become 800 when you play it this way.
No, they don't.
That's just not a thing. So I dislike that I'm in a position where I can power to 6 and I'm really into Naga. I have these 2 Zesties and stuff. And like percentage wise, the right play for me is to probably just roll it down on 4 for that one card. And that's a bad feeling, man, when you're like, but I can level, I can do stuff. It's like, no, just roll on 4. Because it's stronger. The 4-drop, there's more 4-drops in the pool and it's stronger than the 6-drop. And it's like, okay, I guess I'll just roll for the 4-drop. So I think with that one, they missed the mark a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it's cool, the Deep Blue stuff. It's like know me for spells, right? It's cool. It's just, I find it weird that I have close to no incentive for that type to level past 4. So if I have generic strong games, but I'm really leaning into Naga, it's just not a great deal to go to 6 for me.
Yeah, that is a little bit sad, and I do think there. I mean, but how do you fix that, right? Like that's the question, right? Like,
that is, I mean, it's easy for us to complain, right? As it always is. That is our job, I guess. We point out things where, hey, this might not be, this might not be
balanced.
Exactly. It's because I guess maybe it's something that hits me a bit more because I used to love doing like Pashmar into Atessa. Oh man, I was a Pashmar main, and now I can't remember the last time I bought a Pashmar because like we don't need it.
I buy it because it's a force 5 stat line.
Yeah, and then you're sad, right? That's like you put it in the front because you can trade.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. It's just something I noticed where I don't love the state of Nagas right now. Where it's better to roll on 4.
Okay. Soul Splitter going down from tier 5 to tier 4. This helps with the scaling. The one card that does that one thing. Do you know the name? I know you know the name. Nubrak. Yeah, it helps with Nubrak. It's kind of interesting, right? Because they're reverting a lot of their nerfs essentially in terms of how they're changing stuff, right? Because the Nubrak used to be Soul Splitter used to be 4, and the Nubrak used to be 5, but then they moved it. They swapped them, I think, and now they're just putting Soul Splitter back down because it's not as good as the other meta compositions, I guess.
Yeah, it's just Nubrak still only does 1, right? That was the big.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Nubrak used to do 2, so then you'd have Nubrak, Soul Splitter, Titus, stonks, right? It's just the main thing I'd say. This is like this thing where. Oh, we'll move Soul Splitter to 4 so you guys can play Nubrak. And it's like, Reborn, the Undead Murloc, you say. Yeah, I can do that on 4 now. Like, no, we didn't move that there for you guys to Poison Scab bitter. More Poison Scab. That's how I use it, right? Like, I don't have to go to 5 now. If I triple into a Belcher, I'll just stay on 4, get base skill, get Soul Splitter. You can Golden Soul Splitter, play 2 of those 2/7 Murlocs. That's 4 Venom for 3 minions only. It's so dumb. So that's the main reason.
Classic Shady.
Yeah, exactly. Like, god damn it! Why can't you play the game the way it was meant to be played? Right?
And then Bannerboard being removed, which I think is fair because it was really strong with the synergies on 3 already.
I love Bannerboard, but yeah,
and it was so strong. Like you were getting like +4, +2 a turn.
Yeah, it's for like Mask as well, right? If Bannerboard was in with Mask, it's such a good early game.
But Patient Scout has been returned. So
yeah, I thought that was weird that they were gonna do that for Quest. I thought initially they removed Scout because it was gonna be too strong with Quest. And I mean, when I'm questing, my God, give me all the Scouts in the world, right? It's like buy minions, play minions. I get to choose.
I don't know if they're thinking that far ahead, Shitty. I'm gonna be honest.
I think you give credit for that for sure. Come on, Collins.
Fair enough. All right, yeah.
So whatever, but I think there was just a big outrage, right? There were like people like, I
that's
love
true.
Scout.
That's true. A lot of people were like,
Why Scout? Where's Scout? Where's Scout? Where's my Scout? Right? Yeah. Anyways, it's I'm not too fussed either way. I think the card is very fun to play with. So
I agree with that.
I'm not gonna be here like, well, that's too strong for Quest. It's just like, no, I like playing with that.
It's a good card. Get it?
Really good card.
Spending 2 mana for a 1-drop, like you love to see it.
And then it turns into a Selly, and you're like, free, entirely free.
Yeah, that's all good. All right.
I love free. Okay, sure.
And then finally, we do have, as it said, the moment you've been waiting for. Quest to return to Battlegrounds. So they'll be in every game, and they work the same way as they did before, but they've made a few adjustments to some of the quest rewards with some new additions as well. Obviously, I think you guys have played, so you know how it works, right? But the flow is turn 6 or turn 4, you'll get 3 quest options with different quest requirements, and then you do have to complete those requirements to unlock your quest. And then once you get your quest, you get it for the rest of the game, and you could use it to dominate your enemies. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, technically, the quest is the thing you complete, and the other is a quest reward. But yeah,
whatever.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying. All right.
We all understand. It doesn't matter.
There were some new quests and some new quest rewards as well. In terms of, do you want to go through? I guess that would be okay, right? Like going through the quest rewards. I don't know if you want to go through the quest itself, like sell 9 minions, like like I guess you could talk about the difficulty.
Right. We could. Let's see if there's anything that jumps out. I think we can already say that burn the evidence, which is the requirement to sell, has been temporarily disabled because that probably had been a little. Also, like they probably didn't calculate exactly how difficult that would be. Where they were like, okay, buying minions this many, selling minions that's probably kind of close. It's like, well, no, selling minions is significantly more annoying.
Yeah.
Because when you complete your quest and you buy minions,
I do love having no minions when my quest is complete. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you wanna rush that completion, that's when you actually sell down to 0, right?
Yeah.
And that's just like, well, suddenly I take a shit ton of
damage. Yeah.
And then you're like, I can't do that. So when you're rushing a buy quest, it's like, oh look, 6-7 minions on my board and my quest is done. When you're rushing the sell quest, it's like, oh, I got nothing. So probably need a little bit more balance there, but then you probably
it's weird, right? Because let's say it's like sell 4 minions, right? You could probably complete that quest like that roll, right?
That turn.
Yeah,
you buy, sell.
And the difference between activating a quest like 1-2 turns earlier is like so big.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
that might be a very difficult to balance quest.
So I don't know.
Too much is going to feel awful. Too little is going to feel way too good. So. All right. Then let's see if there's anything else interesting. Not really. I think everything else we've kind of seen before. You guys are playing. You understand what you're doing. You're buying.
They did remove the loser tie, which was good.
Yes. Great. Love it. Good job.
Yeah.
That was not a fun quest to do, and very tilting if you would accidentally win.
Yeah, imagine accidentally winning, and you're just like, "Oh my god!" Like,
the opponent is holding.
You never feel good. All right, we can talk about the new quest rewards. I think that's going to be a big deal, right?
Yep. Let's dive into it.
First one, we have Icicle Avenge 1. Give a minion in your hand +3 attack. This one is. Honestly, I don't like this one personally, but I bet you might have a different opinion, but I'm not a big fan of buffing my hand.
I think it's like that. There was that other quest, right, where they based on missing health, you buff attack.
Yeah, Blood Goblet.
It's just not good either, and this is essentially very niche to you can make big deflectors.
Okay, well, so what I've seen people do is they're playing of course, Bagro, and then they have base girl, and then they have the cleave pirate in their hands.
Yeah,
No. I think it was like a Lich King, right? He reborned it, and he had 2 of them. So he summoned 2 cleaves out of them. I was just like, that's okay. I could see it. Like I could see the appeal there of that particular scenario.
Very niche though, right? Very niche.
I agree. I'm not a fan but I see it a lot. I see a lot of people picking this. I guess it's very easy to complete. I think is the reason.
I think it's just one of those things where you see, well, Avenge 1, that's gonna proc like crazy. It's easy to complete. Let's do it. But you just have to ask yourself, how much impact is it actually gonna have when this is complete? And I think that it's weird because then when it's complete, you're not even stronger. You gotta wait a turn, right, until the thing comes out. So yeah, not a fan.
All right. Next up, we have Soul Pact. So after you play a minion, give other minions of the same type +1/+1. So this affects your shop. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but this is very, very specifically, that's only your current shop. That's not perma buffs on your shop.
Right.
Because if it was, it'd be good. Right, but it's not a Nomi for any type.
I guess maybe this is like a mech. I've seen it. I've been offered this and I never take it. But I could see maybe for mechs, there's an appeal here where you're getting like a decent amount of mechs with some generation. And you could buff all your mechs like with Divine Shield. Maybe. I haven't taken it. What's your thoughts?
I think right now there is a divide between quests, right? Where you have the pop-off crazy quests, and then you have some stat quests.
You have the ones I take, and then you have stat quests.
Yes, and my playstyle has definitely, over the years, right, crept more towards I gotta pop off. Gotta do crazy things because you do have to win. Yeah, the moment you're doing front page gaming, you have to win games. If you're not winning games, you're not climbing. And there's a lot of quests that I feel like when I complete them, I just like, okay,
I don't feel better. Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, someone is gonna have some nasty board, and it's just not gonna be that great. And I think Soul Pact, for me at the moment, right? So again, guys, big disclaimer: this
things can change. Yeah,
this with a few days of gameplay, and very likely there'll be a balance changing things. But for the moment, things like Soul Pact, I don't love it. It's just a bit too slow. It's a bit too average. Like spending that 2 gold to buy a minion, sell it, and gives 1/1 to other minions of the same type.
Yeah, it's too. That was my issue. I'm like, it's too. There's too many caveats here for me to get this 2/1 proc. I have to like build and then play and then buy the same type. And, yeah. I could definitely see it though, but like you have to be playing. I think if you're playing mechs, this could work, and maybe Quote Wars as well. I think maybe those two. I guess Nagas as well. Like you need something that generates and elementals. I feel like if you're playing elementals, you don't need this really, but you need something that generates.
What do you mean you don't need it?
Because if you're playing like Nomi, like you're fine. You know what I mean? If you're playing like Rock.
What? If you're playing Nomi, you're fine. What meta have you been playing, sir? Where you're like, well, you've hit a Nomi, you're fine, right? I mean, Nomi is like the highest win rate 5-drop.
I just played a Nomi game and I got what 4th? Come on, Shady, we're fine.
Okay, right? It's like, look, I did not lose that much MMR in my Nomi game. It's clearly fine.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. All right, fine, whatever.
Right. Sure.
Your elementals, you're not like keeping the one you buy initially. You know, you're like, well, I guess maybe. I mean,
it's some tempo, right? Yeah, some tempo. So sure. I would argue that for that, and especially when you're doing with the trumpet, right? It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah.
So I would argue elementals are definitely a good type.
They're a good type. Okay, fine. They're a good type. Right. That's fair.
Sure.
I can't disagree with that. It's just like, I'm not winning the game. I want a different quest with elementals.
Yes, we want a different quest. But if we have this one, elementals is fine.
Okay. All right. Next one, we have Sturdy Shard. At the end of your turn, give your minions without Tom +1/+2 for each summon you control. I've never seen this. I've never seen anyone play it. I've never seen it offered. Never seen anyone play it. I don't know if it exists. Have you?
I've played it.
Okay.
I've played against it, and I would say it falls into that latter category of the quest we just covered, where it's just like some stats and it's not that good. Now, the ideal scenario here is you're playing Fort and you have Drakari. And
so
then
you buff your Drakari.
Yeah, your Drakari gets bigger, your Fort gets bigger, but that's very specifically like, oh, hey, I'm going to pick this quest and hit a Fort Drakari.
If you have Fort Drakari, do you need this? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, Fort Drakari on its own does not win you the lobby, right, in a quest meta. So it definitely helps where everything else gets bigger as well. But doesn't feel... Again, right? This is one of those quests where I'm going to pick that.
Give me a quest that gives me another Fort.
we can use the next quest as an example where doppelgangers lock
this one I think is a little crazy.
It is crazy. It's more than a little crazy. but that's the thing, right? There's doppelgangers lock it out there, so we don't want to be picking sturdy shard. So yeah, doppelgangers lock it, and you are hearing it right, guys. After each combat, discover a non-golden minion from your last opponent's warband. It keeps enchantments. Means if we fight someone with an 80 damage cleave, you might be the proud owner of an 80 damage cleave after that combat. It is yours.
I played this quest, and it literally just gave me my direction. Like, it gave me my comp. Like, I got like a 2 deflectos from it, you know, and then a huge taunted mech. I'm just like, well, I'm playing Max. Like, I had no direction really. I was just like, oh, thank you. And then I beat the guy I stole the cards from. Like, at the end, it's just like, come on.
Yeah, you're them, but better a lot of the time, because they might only have one of those big deflectors.
Yeah, they spend the resources investing into the card. You take it for free with no cost. It's like, what is this?
Yeah. And it's economy early on.
Yeah,
right? It's like it just gives you a card. It's kind of like the cat, right? Cat buddy. That's a good minion. And now this is like, you don't just get a shitty token, you get their best minion, or the best minion you can discover.
Right.
So about this quest, I would say it almost feels weird to try and scale, because it's like, oh, I'm just stealing good cards. So I've definitely been in a spot where like, what do I spend my gold on here? Whatever.
If you're in that scenario, you're fine though, right? Or
No. Yeah. But it's one of those things where like, well, my quest is that good. What am I buying in the shop? So it's like, when I had this quest, I was like, I guess I'm just looking for Queen Leroy, because I'm just gonna steal good minions from the others. So I'm just trying to build like, yeah. And the other anecdote, right, I will say, which was hilarious. I was playing this versus a Putricide. The Putricide had a big A-bomb, which I stole, and then stole again. And then the third time I fought him, he sold it because he was tired of me stealing his A-bomb. He sold his big A-bomb because fuck this shit, man. That's probably correct. I thought it was so funny. That was hilarious game. Where it's like, I have to sell it. He's gonna keep stealing.
That's oh god.
So probably too strong. You force your opponent to sell their good minions. So now, there's one thing here, right? What you do is, if you can golden that, it's no longer a target, right? So they have thought about that, but still. How many times?
Still too good. Yeah.
Yes. How many times do you win the game with several normal copies of a minion on your board?
What it should do, I think it shouldn't be discovered. You should just get a random one from your there's
a random one that keeps the enchantments. You can do that. Yeah, it's either
there's no way to balance this with this current set of mechanics. If you add discover in the pool, it's 3 out of 7, but usually 3 out of 6, right? If they have goldens, right? And you're gonna get something playable, right? So
it's like when you put the cat hero power, and you unlock
every
it on
turn,
turn 6 or turn 7.
Every turn, it's so crazy.
You don't even have to kill them, right? Every turn, cat hero power. That's essentially it. Starting turn 6, turn 7, maybe turn 8 if you have a late one. You have cat hero power every turn. It's disgusting.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we do have Timeline Acceleration. I also played with this. And this also feels very good to me.
Agreed. But once again, we can be adding 1/1 to our board, or we can be getting 6 drops on tier 4. Right? It's like,
I 2 a turn is actually a lot. I think
Yeah.
You just like, oh, here you're on 4. Here's a 6. Here's another 6. Here's another 6. Like, and it's so swingy, right? Like a 6 can swing you the game, right? Like I got like,
absolutely. Yeah.
That taunt guy that we were talking about, Fort. I got Fort. Yeah, I got Fort early, and I'm just like, okay, like, all right, I'm gonna win the next like 3 fights. You know,
like 9 gold or something, right? Like 9 gold, you're on tier 4, you double evolved something. You
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's an early Fort for sure.
I'm just like, okay, well, that I was like, that paid for itself. Oh, like the rest of the accelerators are just bonus. Like I already got like a huge spike.
I would have settled for a Fort. Yeah, like if the quest just gave me a Fort,
Yeah.
good, deal. So there is one hero in particular, I think, that is disgusting with this quest. Can you think of?
Damn it! I was like, are you gonna make me guess? Oh my god!
I'm just throwing.
I mean, is it Malygos? But I mean,
no,
right? It makes sense, right? Like that's the logical one, but it's probably something even stupider. Togwaggle?
Nope.
No. I feel like those are also pretty good. You know,
it's good, yeah.
Maybe you haven't played with it. You play with those heroes.
No, I'll tell it, and you'll be like, oh my god, it's Kurt. So you evolve the minion in the shop, and then you buy 4, and then you have 2 forts. It's so dumb.
Oh,
you get like I know. I made a duo. I was like, I have 2 duos, and then Magma Lock. Oh my Magma Lock. We're just like, it was disgusting, right? So
that's
yeah. So you pick Kurt. You hope you get the evolve. You evolve something in the shop, and then you buy.
I didn't know because I never pick Kurt. That's why.
I think Kurt right now is going to be in this disgusting spot where he has 18 armor because he sucked in the previous meta. You get a nice easy quest, and then you greed with the thing, and
right. I forgot about the armor interactions. I've actually just been playing normal.
Oh my god, Collins! All right, so let's throw that out there for anyone else who forgot. When your hero has a lot of armor, you get an easy quest.
Oh yeah,
that's very important.
We should mention that again because that's actually really important. Yeah. I've been playing normal the whole time. Oh my god, that's so true.
Why have to shudder my quest so hard?
That's true. It's actually you're just, dude. The light bulb just like came out like, oh my god, I've been throwing every game I've been throwing. Nah, that's my thoughts. I'm glad we have these conversations.
Yeah, these podcasts are great. Okay, let's move on. But that's great.
All right, next up we have Invigorating Conch. When you buy a minion, give it stats to a random friendly minion. This reminds me of that one card that does that one thing.
Cookbook. It's not Anima Bribe, right? Where you buff the shop?
No, it's not Anima Bribe. It kind of reminds you of Cookbook, but that's only if you have like no me scaling and stuff like that. Where that becomes disgusting, right? But generally, it's okay. In my opinion, if you don't have any like if elementals aren't in and you can't like scale the shop, I'm not like super big fan of this one. What's your thoughts?
It's one of those things that I haven't played yet. So it's a little difficult for me to say like, oh, I played it and it felt like this.
Have you played into people?
Yeah, no one in the finals or anything.
Like you can't. It's not memorable, basically. So it means
exactly. I haven't faced someone be like, oh, they had that. Yeah. Right? Whereas there's a few where like, oh, they had that.
Yeah, exactly right.
I'm gonna remember that one. Yeah. So yeah, Conch has not been that yet. Also depends like how difficult it is, right? Because all these quest rewards have a difficulty tied to them.
It was like average difficulty, I guess is the way. It wasn't like easy, but it wasn't like super hard. It was like maybe average.
It wasn't Pilfered Lamb's status.
Yeah, no. So okay, but still not memorable, not impressive. Maybe in elemental lobbies, if you're getting some scaling with Nomi and stuff like that, then I could see it. Right? Because if you can like get plus 20/20 on your elemental stuff, right? You buy this, you get an extra 20/20 every time. Yeah. And like that feels good. But that's like the only scenario.
Buffs, this is good. So demons, right? Demons and elementals, pretty much.
Your demons buff the shop? Am I missing something?
Elemental.
Oh, Feliment.
Overseer.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
That's, I mean, that adds, you have a Golden Overseer on the board. That's suddenly it's a lot better to buy minions.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Okay, that's true. That's true, actually. All right, next up we have Boom Squad. So it's Avenge 3. It deals 10 damage to the highest health enemy minion. And this is offered in games with undead and beasts in the lobby. My issue is like it doesn't scale. I've seen like 500 health, 800 health. Like I'm like, what is this doing?
I want to try this on Onyxia.
Oh my god, Onyxia's a really good hero right now.
Fire with the whelps, like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, I had what did I have? I had volatile venom. Yeah. It was so nice with a fell stomper. Oh my god, it was so nice. I was just like,
talk about language calls. Those are my games for sure.
I was so sad I didn't record it, dude.
Oh no, I've already played a first and second place Venom game, and I just tell my chat, look, chat, this is probably the most underrated quest ever. It's like people looked at this and they say that it's garbage, unplayable. It's like, I'm telling you, it's good. And a lot of high level players, they know it's good, right? They'll play it. They like to always win, but it takes a whole lot of second places.
Yeah, it's just so much free stats, like especially if you're running synergy. Like it's so much stats.
So if you have no idea what we're talking about, if you're like, all right, so Volatile Venom is the quest that makes your minions what, +7?
7 + 7, yeah. But then they die.
When they attack, they die. Now, when you hear that,
you got to keep in mind they also die horribly. So they're suffering. Those minions they're attacking are screaming in pain when they attack. So that's like where some other players have like a little bit of morality to them, and they don't want to, get their minions that that they're working for. They don't want to give them that suffering. But us, we don't care.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're smashing into a magma lock and dying horribly or just dying normally, that's not too big of a difference, right? You're running into molten lava. It's gonna hurt. So, anyways, silliness aside, the quest reward is good because what you do is you just play stuff like Rat Pack, Coiler, Menaces, and suddenly all your tokens, they're big.
Dude, Coiler is so unfair. I'm just saying, like, Coiler with this thing is so unfair. It's and like the Leroys have 9 health. Like they don't get chipped. It's like, oh my god. Like,
yeah, but very important. If the Leroy attacks something and doesn't die, it'll kill itself, and the effect won't do anything.
I've actually not seen that.
I have had that.
Okay.
So I'm always worried, like, oh god, if the Leroy hits a small minion, it's actually not going to do anything. But another thing is you can run big minions, but you just got to taunt them and put them in the back, and then a whole lot of tokens in the front, and then those big minions never end up attacking anyway.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. like one of the best comps, probably the best one, is 2 taunted deflectobots, and the front is all just mech resets. Because then you have 2 big deflectos in the back, the opponent keeps crashing into shields, you keep resetting with your mech tokens in the front. It's very good.
Yeah, as long as they're not running Leroy or straight shot, then you're fine.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, they were gonna die anyway.
Yeah, they were gonna. Yeah, that's fair. Like,
just bonus to taunt them, right? Just no downside when you're playing that comp. Yeah.
All right. So we just got distracted. We were talking about Boom Squad.
We got very like we got.
I started mentioning about Venom, and you're like, "Oh, let me tell you a story."
let me tell you a story about Venom calls. So I have not played Boom Squad yet, nor have I played against it. So that is something where I just want to try it.
Okay, it seems fair enough. That's fair. But overall, like, it doesn't seem that impressive to me when I look at it.
Okay.
All right, next up we have Divine Armor. So at the end of your turn, which is always interesting because of Drakari, give your leftmost minion in your hand +6/+6 and Divine Shield. So I have seen people play this. I've been offered this, but then I always get distracted by the shinier quests. But it does seem decent. Like, Divine Shield is usually a pretty powerful attachment, and if you can get it into something like a cleave, right? I had a couple people play this with Murlocs in, right? They get the bog grill, and it just summon like cleaves. People love summoning cleaves from the bog grill. Actually, that's what I've noticed.
I do want to say, right? I say base skill, but it's bass skill. I think because the fish is bass, but I think saying base is more fun. By the way, so I just don't want to. Well, the thing bass is this we're getting some layers here, right? I choose to say base because I think it's more fun. Okay. But then you're saying bog grill, and then I feel obligated to correct you. But then I'm correcting you with the incorrect version because it's actually bass skill, right? So I just want to point that out there because I know some people are listening like he's correcting him and it's still wrong. Oh my god, right? So I get it. I just like saying base, it's more fun. So but yeah, that's the one. That's the Murloc Collins is
base skill. Okay.
Yeah, base skill, bass skill.
I'll try for 10 minutes.
I know you're saying Bogrel, that's a Twitch name.
No, that's just how my brain works. It just associates things, and then it becomes the name. Like I don't even know the original name. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's like the Ghost Collider.
Yeah, what do you? There's nothing wrong with that name. Like,
so the Ghost Collider is the name of the miniature.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of divine armor, I do think it's pretty good. I actually think the divine shield is relevant. I would say maybe there's some issues with like how long it takes to pop, but its effect is really strong, so I can see why it takes a while for it to work. So overall, I haven't taken it myself because I play heroes with low armor, and this always looks daunting to complete, apparently. But I've definitely played against it, and it's been relevant.
I've picked it one time and I was happy about it.
Okay.
It's not something like crazy where it will. So I usually classify quests in one of two things, right? One is this is a quest that just helps me get cards to then win the game with, or this is a quest that I completely build around and just take it from there. So Volatile Venom Cookbook, those are the quests you just completely build around.
Right.
And then Divine Armor is more do your thing, it's just better now. Right? You have Divine Shield on whatever you were gonna do. Yeah, so and I do like the quests that give you a plan more right now because I think those are a bit more busted. The mask, right? Mask has been very good for me, just giving you a minion.
Mine is like spend 95 gold, and I'm just like, all right, next.
Right. You haven't been picking masks. I've been picking Cindy and Kurt and all these like 18 armor heroes.
It makes sense now. It makes so much sense now, Shady. Yeah.
All right, the co-op games are gonna be fun.
For sure. Next up, we have Map of the Unknown. So after you play a minion of a type you don't control, give a friendly minion of each type +2/+1. So basically, after you play a minion of type you don't control, you get like a mini Light Fang proc, which is interesting. But once again, you're playing Light Fang comp if you want to fully interact with this, and there's not that many really great Light Fang targets. Like Light Fang used to be really good because you could go like cleave, divine shield, and then like just scaling, Leroy Manted or something like that, like at the end, right? But right now, like the cleave is only pirates really, and the other cards, there's less divine shields to really like force into early tiers for the scaling. So it's just hard to get a Light Fang comp where you have all the pieces early and you're just like, wow, okay, I just have to, get some setup or blah, blah, blah. So I've not been happy with this here, and it just doesn't feel as good as some of the other options, I would say, that are offered. So I've not been a big fan of this one in particular.
No, it's similar, right? To the ones we covered already.
I think it's very similar to the like Soul Pact, Shirley Star, that level as well. Yeah, I agree with that.
It's just it's not your upbeat duo or whatever procs 2 times with mask. Stuff like that really just takes the game like, oh my god, this is crazy high roll.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think right, and this is also, I'll take a moment to acknowledge that, because you might be playing this patch and say, wow, this is so imbalanced, what have they done to my game mode, right? And for a big part, it's correct where there's a lot of imbalance, but that is almost always the case on a new release. I feel like on this podcast alone, I've said that 4, 5, 6 times. Every time there's a big change. But you can use that to your advantage. because when you accept that, hey, this is just what happens at the start of patches, certain things are going to be way too strong, other things are going to be too weak. Understanding what's too strong by comparing and potentially listening to a certain podcast, letting you in on what is too strong, then you can abuse that and use that to your advantage until it gets nerfed. So that then becomes like, ooh, patch, chaos. I'm going to profit. Right. So instead of, oh my God, they broke the game. So this is one of the things where, at least in our opinion right now, these quests that are just give stats, get a little bit of boost, not really worth it, because we'll cover some of the more disgusting stuff, right? Which we've already done. We've talked about this evolve thing that you can do, doppelganger locket, like that is just
those are the two that we would recommend right now for that we've talked about, like doppelganger. And
we'll talk about some others as well, but there's just and what they'll do is they'll look at, hey, these things are winning way too much, we're going to make them much more difficult. These things are winning way too little, we're going to make them a lot easier. And then once stuff like the soul pack becomes really easy to complete, or they buff it, or this or that, then it's going to be more balanced. But for now, we'd advise, try to stay away from just the pure stat quest, because they're not that good.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Blood-Soaked Tome. Minions in Bob's Tavern cost 2 gold. They will say this is one of our rare rewards, and that's true because I have not seen it, and I've not seen an opponent have it either. So I've really not seen it at all. But I assume you've seen it or seen an opponent have it?
I have seen it, okay. Yes. I fought an Alex who had 5 Caligos, and battle cries cost 1 gold.
Huh.
They were large. They were very large.
Imagine if you're playing Millhouse, you're just like, what is this? What is this slander?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you're still rolling for 1 gold, right?
Yeah.
So you're Millhouse.
Yeah.
Because Millhouse is already disgusting with like Callies and anything that's. But then you add in that you don't have to roll for 2 gold, so that's
and you can make gold. Like, it's not hard to make more than 2 gold with a purchase. Like, well, I mean, with a brand, with a
brand, Shell Collector, Primal Fate, these cards.
Anything just like gives you so much money.
Give it the money. Yeah. And especially if you have recycling rate, then you're really rolling for free. Yeah, it's very, very good.
Yeah.
So it's one of those quests where if you can complete it, go for it. It's just that this is a high tier quest, so it's gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
So no matter how good a quest is, if you're dead before you can use it, it's not a good quest. So keep that in mind.
Well, I mean, it's a good quest for me if you're dead before you can use it. You know what I mean? So
like, pick it if you're against me, right? But then don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's that's always the balance you're going for. And if you're not sure, err on the side of caution, take the thing you can complete, because any completed best quest is better than no completed quest. But if you see it happening, then definitely go for this, because this is going to win you the game a lot of the time.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Spectre of Guidance. So Bob's Tavern always offers 2 randomly selected types. So like undead, mechs, elementals, blah, 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 when refreshed. So honestly, people can complete this really fast because I always see this thing and like just popping. But I'm not a fan. It doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really do anything. You're like, okay, and it's randomly selected. It's not like your most, like, if it like picked, but it couldn't do that. If it like picked the one you had the most copy of when it activates, that would maybe be better. So like, let's say you have like 3 beasts and then it activates. Oh, okay, you have 3 beasts. It's gonna pick beasts. Like that, I think would be a little bit more interesting because you could kind of control what your comp you're looking for. So, but right now it's just like here you get 2 mechs a row that you might not want like every time. I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Maybe elementals, I guess, right? If you're maybe playing Nomies or something, right? Then that would be. But you're not gonna know you're playing Nomies like that early when you pick this quest. Like, so I don't even know.
I'd say Murlocs.
And
then Bream and you pump.
Okay,
like
that's fair. That's fair too.
I think that's the one you go.
I lean elementals when it comes to that kind of thing. But you're like, no, Murlocs is your jam right now.
we covered how dumb Bream is, right?
Yeah,
they get large, and like you're gonna be able to farm multiple Breams with this, right? You can just like, ooh, another Bream, another Bream, right? So if you get that going and you just have base skill Bream to keep you alive, and then at some point you hit the 6 drop, you're like, oh, these Breams are big.
Yeah, I would say Murlocs are easier to set up, where this is a positive quest, where versus elementals you'd have to like hit the scaling first, or like even if you hit elementals and you don't have the Nomi, it doesn't do anything, right? Or the rock, it doesn't do anything. So that's kind of the issue there, where the Murlocs, like, you're going to get some synergy at some point, like you're going to hit some good stuff. So I think the Murlocs is probably the safer bet over the two.
Yep, because it'll come to you, right? If you're rolling on tier 4, it'll come to you.
Exactly. Where tier 5, if you need to hit tier 5 before your composition starts, it's not reliable. And that's the problem, right? 4, it can be reliable, right? Like, that's why you could argue with that Nagas might also be viable, because you could just stay on 4, get the guaranteed 2 Nagas per roll, and then just force the Zesty comp. So that actually might also be relevant now that we're talking about it. So
the tricky thing is you have a very limited window to get that online, though. So
right.
It's gonna be very frustrating, like.
But I think this quest triggers quickly, is what I'm saying. So
yeah, sure. It's just why, like, I mean that it's tough if you're not hitting the one card.
You need to already have Lava Lurker like, or something, like some synergy already on the board, and then it gives you like, oh, it's Nagas. Then so like, I guess it's more, there's more caveats with that setup, where the Murloc one seems like has the least caveats overall, in terms of like, you just need you just need to hit it at some point. Okay, and then the last, oh no, they have 2 more. Transorgification,
so you say transmog normally, like that's
right. You're right. Yeah.
So this is transmogrification, because we're turning them into ogres.
Transmogrification. Yeah. Imagine someone that's like their super special skills name, and they're like transmog. It's like, someone just like, get out of here. At the end of your turn, anyways, set your lowest health minion stats equal to your highest health minion stats. So this kind of reminds me of Evil Twin, basically. It's a little bit different because of the fact that you can have it gain Divine Shield or Cleave or something like that, right? So there's definitely some.
Have you seen how this works yet, or not?
No. Oh, it's permanent. Oh. It's permanent.
So they've already removed it, because this was, by and large, the most broken quest they've ever released. It's like better than Old Stolen Gold, right? And you remember how stupid Old Stolen Gold was?
I didn't even notice that. Oh,
so
it's gone.
I will. Let me see if I can show you that. I was lucky enough to play it on day 1, and so I have the YouTube video.
Of course you do.
But it's rather disgusting.
Wait, that's so good. Wait, what? I didn't realize. I didn't read chat.
You're just like, how is this legal? But then, like, non-clickbaity, just like, actually, like, how is this legal? I'll put it in your Twitch. I'll put it in my Twitch.
Huh.
So essentially, what I do in that game is, it's end of turn, naturally.
Yeah, of course it is.
You can do it with Drakari.
And then they'll hit 2 minions. Oh my god.
At the end of the game, I had a golden Drakari with 300 health on it. So I could play any 3 minions, and they would instantly turn into 300 health. So we're talking Deflectobot, we're talking Cleave, we're talking anything that you want to make 300 health. Just put it down, and it'll turn into. It's not even just the health.
It gets the attack as well. Yeah.
So it's just like. The funny thing is, when we were talking about it in my chat, people were like, what if we make it start of turn? And I was like, gee, I don't know. Gain a 300 minion every turn, but at the start of turn instead of end of turn. Is that good? And I was like, you know what? I think I'll still take that quest, chat. I'll still, I'll manage with only making my worst minion into my best minion.
That's so crazy.
It's disgusting, right? You're turning your worst
How
minion.
Is that?
Like,
I mean, obviously,
I know. But that's the that was the That's essentially the interpretation.
This guy's only alive because he stole your cards. Because he has the stealing.
He's stealing my cards, right? So he's actually copying. But the cool thing I did in this game as well is I put War Gear on the board to let it copy the stats, and then I tripled it.
Oh my god!
And then I put it on my Deflecto, and then my Deflecto is like twice as big, and then it's like if you ever get
any
that
minion, any minion, it will transfer to the others.
Yeah. So it's completely ridiculous. So whatever. Well, we got that covered. There were some messages from players going to the devs like, you might want to take a look at this because it's a little bit too good. So like I saw some concern being expressed, and they promptly said, you know what, I'm going to disable that one for now. And I think that was a great decision because this was just an always pick because you do just win when it completes.
Shouldn't it be at the start of your battle or something?
Yeah, it's going to be like once every 2 turns, or just the health, or this or that.
No, just at the start of battle, so it's not permanent.
But then it's just Evil Twin, right?
Yeah, it's just Evil Twin, but you can target cleaves. You know what I mean? Like it's still relevant.
No, why is it? Oh, you mean you can turn a bad big minion? But then why would you make a bad big minion?
No, like let's say you have like what's it called? Dynamic Duo or something, right? That thing is huge. That like at the end you buy the cleave, and now that cleave has like 500 health and 200 attack or something.
I get that, but with the card that copies your best minion, you have 2 cleaves if you make a big cleave, right? So that's just so much better.
But sometimes it's harder to make a big cleave than a big duo.
I get it, but I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit too much like Quinn. I don't know if they can do that. Sure, whatever. We'll see.
Delete the card then. All right, disable it. All right, new strategy. I don't care. I'm not trying to fix it anymore. All right, and then the last new one is Endless Blood Moon. Your blood gems give an extra +2/+2, which I will say, like I will say, like that feels a little weird in this like gem meta where sometimes my gems are giving like +10, +20. You know, it's like, oh, here's an extra +2/+2. Obviously, at the beginning of the game, this is very relevant, right? But it's also like, like sometimes I'm just like, this didn't do anything. This is only offered with Quillboars, of course, but you do get 2 gems per turn, which is relevant. I will say the +2 gems per turn is pretty relevant if you have some Quillboar synergy, and it also increases your baseline from +1/+1 to +3/+3. So even if you have no synergy, it still does something. So obviously, I'm memeing in terms of like, yeah, you could definitely just have way more attack or health if you scale it off, but it increases the baseline by a lot.
Yeah, I definitely have the inclination to go with the meme. It was like a +2/+2. Do I look like a peasant to you, or what is this? But it does generate the 2 gems.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah, so it's
so you do get that, and it is start of turn, so not Dracariable. But I had boppers with this. Very nice. Boppers with Dracari filled my hand with gems. I had a little plus attack on my gems.
I gotta say stuff. The discover effects should not be removed by gems. Like, it's so annoying. I was playing Cat or something, and then I'm playing Quillboar Cat. Okay, I have 10 gems. Well, I don't get any summons, any discoverers from the dead guys. Like, why am I playing Cat? Like, it's so annoying. That bothers me a lot. Like, just give me the ability, like, make it not like the Naga Spellcraft, right? Where, okay, obviously you had 10 gems. Okay, I'm sorry that your fight went good. All right, but here you can still get your hero power. You can still get your hero power because you're playing Quillboars. Why am I denied my hero power because I'm playing this one comp compared to every other comp of the game? It's like,
yes, no. I think it's an issue that's not common enough for them to really tackle it. But I agree that the way how they obviously saw this coming when they made Nagas.
Yes,
right. Like,
yes,
they were just like, people are not going to manage their hand space exactly right. They're going to overflow, right? They're not going to get their spellcrafts, and it's going to feel horrible.
Yeah.
And we're making this entire expansion based on cards coming into your hands with spellcrafts. We got to do something about that. So they saw that coming. But I think that the scenarios where you fill your hand with blood gems and your cat or your Ticketus, right? Ticketus is another really painful one.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Because it makes you choose. It's like, take that ice block and know that you will not get it.
Cat does that too. That cat does that too.
It's a 300 damage cleave, but you get a 1/1 gem instead. Eat it. So yes, God. I agree. It makes no sense whatsoever, given that they obviously have the technology with spellcrafts, but it would most likely require quite the rework and stuff. And I'm guessing they're just like, you know what, this just doesn't happen often enough.
You're just too bad. You know, you should have maybe calculated where you only had 9 gems a turn, sir. Like, what are you doing?
Well, that goes without saying, but you know, like, just
all right.
I do think it's a little silly when spellcraft works one way and it's just like, oh, with this one mechanic, right? We have gems. That's not happening.
Anyways, I play enough cat, and it's like relevant enough that I'm just like, can I even play my best comp here? Like, because it's gonna ruin my late game. Like, that's like all right. With that done out of the way, we do have a lot of returning rewards. A lot. I actually didn't know there was this many like rewards. There's a lot. But we're not going to go through all of them like we did here.
We don't have to cover those, basically.
Yeah, but are the, like, I do want to talk about like which ones stand out to you, and like what would you still recommend?
Mask. Sure.
Okay.
So there's a few things with Mask. You can get the pirate that makes 2 golden pirates then, and you can get duo that makes 2 copies of the card. So essentially it makes a golden one. It's like you have Drakari duo. And then obviously so the way how I treat Mask is it's a quest that's going to dictate how I play the game, and it can win me the game on its own, right? You can get Mask with Charlie and then some gem buffs that can win you the game. You can get Mask with Fort that can win you the game. But you also have this Mask duo, which doesn't necessarily win you the game on its own, but it's going to give you other cards which will win you the game.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my thing. Other than that, obviously there's some good stuff. Golden Hammer is
that was the one I was looking at too.
right. So I'll say one thing. Have you played this with Nagas?
Unfortunately not, because Nagas weren't in. And I was looking at it. I was like, oh, Nagas, okay, but then they weren't in. So
Zesty returns this, right?
Right.
So you play Zesty. You play Hammer. Hammer comes back. You put it on your other Zesty. Hammer comes back. That's 2 golden Zesties on your board
for next turn. Yeah.
And then you put it not for next turn, right? Because Zesty doesn't stay golden, right? Lurker stays golden. You can golden Lurker, and it's perma golden. But the nasty thing is that if you hit 2 Zesties and 1 deep blue, they're all 3 golden.
Right.
Which is 5 deep blue casts on its own, I think. No, 1 more, right? Because you get the normal one, you get the golden one, and then 2 more goldens, right? So that's 6 deep blue casts, and 5 of them are golden. It's outrageous, right? So like you hit 2 Zesty.
That sounds okay. That sounds playable. I might try that, Shady.
That was my very first game on the patch. And I was like, all right, go home, chat. We broke the patch already. Let's go. Zesty with Hammer is not okay. So Hammer with Nagas, absolutely outrageous. It's disgusting. And it's a great quest reward outside of Nagas, right? It's a great reward.
That's annoying. I don't like, now I'm gonna have to be dealing with that. There's already too much nonsense that I see anyway, so it's like whatever. Here's another one.
Here's more nonsense.
Here's more nonsense, yeah. In terms of the other ones as well, I mean they're good. They're good. I wouldn't say they're better than like the 2 we like, the stealing one and the accelerator maybe is also good, but maybe not like, I mean, it's good. It is good. Locket and Accelerator are good, and then
Locket's quite a bit better than Accelerator.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I agree.
League of its own. Yeah.
And a lot of the returning quests are like, they're good tempo. They have some win conditions. Cookbook's still good if you have the setup. If you get it early, it's still good. Sinstone, I haven't seen enough. But obviously, I bet it's still good with the heroes. It still has to be good with the heroes that are good with it. So there's definitely a lot here, but it's less it's more set in stone. Like there's been a lot of documentation about it, or watch an old quest video where we talk about them in detail, right? Like they haven't changed any of the cards. I thought some of the stats and the numbers of these old quests would change, but that really didn't seem to happen. So,
well, these guys have been through the ringer already, so they've been played. So you're not going to find something that's too egregious here, other than interactions that didn't exist last time, like Golden Hammer's SD, right? So there is some opportunity here. Again, Mask with Duo didn't exist before. So there's in the old quest,
Drakari also didn't exist.
Yeah, Mask now works with Drakari, so that they changed the wording specifically to make it work with Drakari. It used to be twice, now it's an extra turn or extra time. So there are definitely some older quests that will need to be rebalanced due to some stuff that wasn't available before. So Hammer is one of them, Mask with Duo is another. But yeah, there's still other solid ones. So I would say we already covered Venom. Super solid, just pick tokens. Same thing with Smoking Gun. Solid, just pick tokens. It's one of those things where if you just put the ambition to win the game aside and just say, you know what, this game, I'm just going to gain some MMR. Like, play full Venom, play full Smoking Gun, and you'll be surprised how often that works out. Now, do that when you can complete the quest. Obviously, don't be like, well, I'm going to really, really go out of my way for the Smoking Gun and it's not going to fit my comp at all. Whatsoever. Don't do that. But if you're like, you know what, I can complete the Smoking Gun in 2 turns, let's just fucking do Smoking Gun, right? Because then you're just very strong. You put the Menace on your board and all that. You stop losing fights. There's those tempo quests do have their pick. Because in quest meta, you do have to remember when you have those nasty, nasty games, opponents get them too. So you have to ask yourself, am I compete with that? And a lot of the time it's no. So in quest meta, you do need to realize which hands to play and which hands to fold. And folding essentially here means just play, Smoking Gun or Venom, or just play something with high tempo and be okay with just being part of the top 4.
Yep.
That's it. Ritual Dagger. Ritual Dagger is another one of those quests where you're not going to win the game off Ritual Dagger very often, but you get an early Ritual Dagger, you get like 4 Death Rattles on your board already. Some tempo, it's fine.
Yeah, all right.
I'm going to kill some people, survive.
Yep. And finally, a few of the old rewards have been removed from the minion pool. The first one, I'm a little bit sad because I kept defending it every time. Teal Tiger Sapphire. Every time I defend them, like, it's good. You can play it with demons. Yeah. And they're like, nah, it ain't good. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it feels bad. And Staff of Origination, I think the stats of this was just very awkward. Where you pick it and die, but then the people who get it to park just win a lot or do really well, maybe like top 2, like without really trying. So it's just like such a weird thing, and probably the stats are like most people die. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's not give them the option to die like this. Like here's a thing where 20% of the time you proc it. Like maybe those don't need to be in the game. You know what I mean? So I could definitely see them removing that. And Blood Goblin is just a bad one. I stand by. It was bad. It wasn't good at all.
Awkward.
Wasn't
Very
fun.
awkward.
It just wasn't a good one.
Like, it's a tempo quest that doesn't do anything unless you're losing.
Yeah, so, like you have to be dying for it to do anything. It's like doesn't make sense.
Not good. All right. That's the podcast.
That is the podcast. That is the video. Thank you guys for joining us here. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you guys learned something. If you want to send us feedback, you send us feedback HSBG Podcast at gmail.com. And then you can find us on Twitch. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on OnlyFans. You can find us on Fansly. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on the street next door. So to stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next one. Enjoy your weekend and have a wonderful, blessed day.
Bye, everyone.
All right, we're done. You cannot find us on Fansly. You cannot find us on